First of all, welcome back to this episode of the AfriTech Connect. It is a space where the main goal is to explore various perspectives around the discussion. We are continuing on our special Women History Month series, and tonight feels especially intimate because it is something that we often talk about, our milestones, our degrees, and our impact. But what we really hear is what happened or who was that person that was behind all of those milestones and those awards, maybe. So tonight's episode is titled Dear Me, Truth I Tell Her Now. And I do want to remind all of us here, either it is of a speaker who are on the panel or even you in the audience, this space is a space for us all. Take as much space as you need. As we are going through the session, feel free to react or to put what you think about this discussion in the chat. And even if you have questions for specific speakers, you can put the comments in the chat, and then at the end, we can come back to them as questions for them. And we are joined, as I said, by speakers tonight, and they are incredible women who navigate very different worlds. So we have sustainability, we have technology and marine science, but who share a common journey, I will say, of growth and unlearning. So to begin, I would love to be able to just introduce those amazing women because you're just taking my word for it. But once I'm going to actually introduce them, you will see for yourself how much they are amazing. So I'm going to start with Catherine. Catherine Remilah-Christ works for the sustainability space, drawn to the quiet work of care, patience, and continuity. Law shapes how she thinks and moves through the world. She holds an LLB and currently pursuing an LLM, exploring how legal structures can protect both people and the planet. She is proudly an AfriTech Fellow and alumni now, where she engaged with inclusive leadership, geospatial technology, project management, and wellness as tools for collective progress. She is also an artist, grounded by creation and creativity. She is interested in who carries the weight of the world, who benefits from it, and how systems might be rebuilt to honor dignity, labor, and shared responsibility. Inspired by Wangari Maathai, she told closely this truth. You can make a lot of speeches, but the real thing is when you dig a hole, plant a tree, give it water, and make it survive. Thank you so much, Catherine, for being with us tonight.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Anne-Gaëlle, for this amazing um, preparation for the session. And thank you, everyone who are here today.
Thank you. Also with us, we have Astrid Descelles. So she is a technologist, project manager, and community builder, passionate about AI, digital ecology, and creating more human-centered technology. She works across web development, digital strategy, and project management, helping teams turn ideas into real impactful solutions. With a strong foundation in web development and e-commerce, her work has naturally expanded to include sustainability, leadership, and community building. She is also the chapter director of Women in Tech Mauritius, where she advocates for inclusive tech spaces and support women on their leadership journeys. Her path has been shaped by curiosity, resilience, and continuous reinvention. Today, she focuses on building smarter, more sustainable digital ecosystems grounded in authenticity, growth, and meaningful impact. Hello, Astrid. Thank you for being here.
Hello, Anne-Gaëlle. Hello, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to be here tonight with you.
And finally, last but certainly not least, we have Anne-Sophie Virassamy, who is a marine scientist driven by a deep passion for the ocean and its extraordinary biodiversity. She recently completed her master's degree in Ireland, an experience that marked a transformative chapter in her journey, one that defined by growth, unlearning, and relearning. Beyond research, Anne-Sophie is an avid scuba diver and underwater photographer, using visual storytelling and art in science to bring marine ecosystems to life. She aspires to become a strong ocean advocate, contributing meaningfully to marine conservation and the protection of our seas. Thank you so much for being here tonight, Anne-Sophie.
Hi, Anga. Hi, everyone. Thank you for this nice introduction and the grounding session. It was really amazing. And I'm really happy to be here on this call tonight.
Great. So now that we know who we'll be sharing this discussion with, let's go dive right in now. It's something that I actually really wanted to know when I was preparing this session. It's something that popped in my head at the very beginning, is that I'd like each one of you, and maybe those in the audience as well, do take some time to think of each of you at the age of 15 or 16. And that person is sitting across you right now. You know, before there was the CV, before there was the expectation that fully settled in our professional world, if you were really sitting across that person right now, what is the first truth that you would tell her or him about who they are beyond what they achieve? So I'm going to give you 10 seconds to think about it. And then I will tell Catherine to go first, and then Astrid, and then answer. And you in the audience, feel free to put it in the chat as well. Catherine? I don't know if 10 seconds has paused already.
Yes, so hi again, everyone. So, for my part, I would tell my younger self that sorry, you are not defined by what you have achieved, but by what you sustain. I would tell her that you will walk into rooms where words carry power, where ideas are spoken, debated, uploaded sometimes, and you will learn how easy it is to be heard and how rare it is to truly matter. Because the truth is this, you can give the most brilliant speeches and still leave nothing behind uh, that leaves. So I would say my younger self, understand this early. You are worth Your worth is not how you will speak, but in what you are willing to nurture when no one is watching. It is like when you plant a tree, it is not for the moment of recognition, but for the quiet responsibility that follows. You will have to water it, to protect it, and to return to it again and again until it no longer needs you to survive. And I would tell my younger self, this is where your power lies. Not in applause, not in endurance, not in visibility, but in commitment, in patience, and resilience. So I think that's all for me.
Thank you so much, Catherine. And I love that the way you talk to yourself, because I did say, imagine that you're across yourself right now. It did feel like you were across yourself, which is something that is really difficult sometimes to do. And I think there's the analogy of the tree that you took, as you said, when you're planting it, you don't really have like it's not instantly that it comes to life, right? And even there's this, I think there's this quote or this saying that says, when you're planting a tree today, it's not even for you. It's for the next generation to be able to go and be by its shade. And it's very, very true. And I love the way you talk to your younger self and how you were very gentle and very caring with. I mean, like, I'm not saying that is the best approach for everyone, but I love that approach for you. And I thank you so much for that. Astrid?
Yes, hello again, everyone. So I think I would remind myself of something very simple. You're not here to prove your worth. You're here to be yourself. When you're 15, you don't have titles, you don't have a lot of experience, but you already have something that is really more powerful. You have your unique way of seeing the world. And what happens when we become an adult? at some point, this power that we have of seeing the world in a unique way, we replace it with expectations. We learn to perform. We learn to fit in spaces. We learn to be what people expect from us. And along the way, we forget that we are already enough. I think you mentioned that at the beginning. In fact, we tend to forget when we become adults that who we are is already enough. So I remind her, you don't need to build your identity around what you achieve. Who you are, your curiosity, your sensitivity, your voice, these are not weakness. They are the foundation of everything you will become. And if I can stay, the younger version of myself can stay connected to that, whatever I will build later on will feel like it's mine and belong to me. I think, yeah, it summarizes a bit what I had in mind.
Thank you, Astrid. And one thing I'm going to say is I'm very, very proud and I'm very, very lucky to have each one of you in my community and as part of my support system. And I know that it's not something that is easy, to come to term with the fact that you are enough and that conversation, I will say, it actually needs to happen within yourself first. And I'm glad that you are today having this conversation with yourself. And I really hope that you keep having this conversation with your younger self and telling yourself that, what you've achieved today is actually, you are happy with it. And that would not have been possible without that younger self that you were back then. And thank you for sharing that. And so?
Yeah, so for me, I was just like, while Catherine and Astrid was talking, I was just like, imagine myself walking like just next to my younger self, like 16, and I just like get like the image of me walking to college, like the same path I was taking to go to college, and like I'm just imagining myself with my younger self at this moment. And I think what I would tell her is that it's like the personality that you have, that you think no one understand right now, you're gonna find people who will understand your personality. And like, I know you're an overthinker, but you're still gonna be an overthinker, but you're gonna make it part of yourself, and where you're gonna learn to master it and like just work with it, like without it like affecting your mental health this much. But also I would like to remind her, like, she's not gonna be alone. She's gonna meet like people, awesome people all along the way, because I do recall having this fear of being alone when I was younger. And I just gonna like be reminding her also that she is enough. She's doing enough already, and she's gonna achieve like already on herself, like the work she's gonna do on herself, on her mental health and her personality, and like knowing who she is and who she's gonna become. This is gonna be like a very long way, a hard journey. I won't lie to her about that, like a hard journey, but it's gonna be worth it at the end. And she's just gonna have to enjoy this journey of what we call life, and all the different steps that come along, and until she reaches adulthood. So, and until we meet there. So it's gonna be a very nice journey that she just have to believe in it.
Thank you, Anso, and thank you for your vulnerability, because I know those fears that we have as we grow up, it's something that we, even though it's there, it's present all the time, we do not necessarily actually put it out there. And I think putting it out there make it less scary, saying that you didn't want that to happen and it actually didn't happen, right? You are not alone and you are surrounded and loved. And one thing that I do want to say is that each one of you, in your own way, you presented what you wanted to say to your younger self. And if there is one thing I mean, like there's several things that came up that was very similar, but there's three things that really came out as the same point out of the three. The first one is you are enough, which is really, really true. And I'm so glad that you are actually acknowledging that, each one of you. And I hope each one of you in the audience as well, you are acknowledging that you are enough. Secondly, that you are worth it, that no matter what you're doing, you are worth it all. We often put a lot of love and a lot of enthusiasm in other people because we think they are worth it. But when do we put time in ourselves and say that we are worth that time? And there is one thing that we often say, me and Astrid actually, often we talk about this, is time is one of the most precious things that you can give to someone because you can never take it back. So you do deserve that you take that some time for yourself because you are worth it. You're worth all of it. And finally, there was this point about the relationship with ourselves. This is one of the most important things because it's important to have this relationship with ourselves so that we can build relationship with others, right? Because it's the basis of it all. So now I do want to go a bit more into each one of your worlds. And I will start with Catherine. You know, Catherine, you sit at the intersection of law, sustainability, and creating systems. And spaces that like that are often, demanded and serious, and it requires strength and intellectual rigor. And it's a lot. I will say it's a lot. Just by looking at those words, I'm like, this is serious, right? But if you had to say, dear younger Catherine, what mask did you feel you had to wear to be taken seriously in that space, in those spaces?
So I would say, dear younger Catherine, when you come from a region or a community that is stigmatized, you learn that being yourself didn't really always feel like enough in certain rooms. So you decide to put a mask, not a loud one, not an obvious one, but a quiet, controlled version of yourself that is more controlled, more measured, and more acceptable. Um, you thought seriousness had to be performed, that strength meant to be unreadable, and that to be taken seriously, you had to leave parts of yourself at the door. And yes, sometimes this mask will protect the younger Catherine. But with time, the truth is that credibility is not something that you can perform. Your strength cannot be covered by a mask. And you will see that even though you thought that you needed that mask uh, to come in the space that is, like you said earlier, a serious space, a rigorous one, that mask will protect you, yes, but it will not really be something that you will be proud of wearing it after. Like this is a part of you that you don't want people to know. And with time, you will see that people will love you, will understand you with who you are, where you come from, with your values and everything that comes with it. And I would say that yes, sometimes I needed to put that mask, but with time, I'm really proud to have taken it off. So the younger Catherine will understand that mm, you just need to remain yourself. You can be afraid of what people will think, but when they will learn to know who you are, you will be very proud and be in your place.
Thank you so much, Catherine. I think it's really genuine and I think it's really true when we are in spaces like yourself. It's really difficult to not put that, like you're saying, being strong and not like nothing can actually attain you. But going through life and telling yourself that it's okay that you had to do that because you felt like you had to do it, right? To be in those spaces, but that does not mean that this is the way to go moving forward. And I think this is also what we want to look into when we are in different industry in life or in everything we do. It goes back again to the relationship we have with our own fears and what we have within to be able to go out there and be the version of yourself that you want to be, because this is something that is very difficult. And as long as you don't know yourself, what is the real version of yourself, it's very difficult to portray it out there because you're constantly choosing to be the version that others want you to be. So thank you so much, Catherine, for sharing this. And I do want to switch to Astrid now. Astrid, you are in another industry. You are in the tech spaces, and you are not always. I mean, the tech is not always known for being, gentle or very inclusive. I mean, maybe it has changed a little bit since the very beginning, but I will say that it's still not very that inclusive. So, dear younger Astrid, what did you feel you had to prove, and what did that cost you?
Um, as you mentioned, I'm in the tech field, and it's not always a very inclusive space. Today, you hear a lot of people talking about women in tech, things like that. But 10 years ago, when I started working, it was not a subject that we were talking about. And in fact, it was a constant fight, always fighting to be heard, fighting to be taken seriously, fighting to prove yourself again and again. And compared to men, I would say men in that case because it's more in my field. I had to work more, deliver more, make sure everything I did was beyond expectation. And what people saw, in fact, in all I was doing, it looks like strength, but in fact, it was exhausting to be always pushing yourself because it's never ending. You always have to prove that you belong here, and you can never just rest. In fact, you're always having to say, I'm here and I belong here. And what it cost me is my peace, in fact, because I could not say at one point, okay, I can stop fighting, it's good, I have my place. It never stops. And I think maybe in some part of my career, I've stopped fighting because, as I was saying, it's exhausting to always fight, to to be somewhere. So I've I had a shift, in fact, in the way I was seeing my career, and instead of trying to prove myself, I've chosen to be in spaces where I was already heard, where I had no more to fight. And that did change everything because it was no more exhausting. And I had energy to do other things. Instead of having to prove myself, I had the energy to build, to lead, and actually create spaces for others to feel safe. So that what I had in my experience during when I was working in tech, we don't have to fight every time to feel heard, to feel recognized. And I think it's important that people have, men or women, in fact, I'm not just saying for men, but it's important that people have spaces where they feel that they can be who they are, in fact, without having to fight who they are.
Thank you, Astrid. And actually, when you were saying that you had to fight, right? You had to fight all this time, and you choose because when this happened to you, there's two options there. When those present to you, and you could have just been like, okay, I fought for all this time, so why do I need to create any spaces for people to have it in a better way because like I had to fight, so everybody needs to fight, right? But you chose to create spaces where people can come and learn and unlearn and relearn to think, how am I supposed to be in that society? And how is it like possible for some to do it so easily? Well, maybe it was not easy because I think maybe there were other women looking at you and saying, oh, you're so confident. You are doing it so well. It all comes so easy to you. But that's the thing. They do not know what is the fight that you had to process the whole time to come to who you are now, to be able to stand tall and help others be able to stand tall as well. And I think that's great because I think you could have chosen to let them fight as well. And in a way, I will say they still need to fight at the end of the day because unfortunately, we did slay some dragons, but we did not slay all of them. There will always, there's this analogy of once you cut one head, two of them come out. And I think that's what happens sometimes in society. We feel like we've slayed the dragon, and then just like that, there's more coming out. But I think having fighters right around us, which is not always the best thing because we are tired, but having fighters around us who actually did it do give us hope in telling ourselves we can do it too. We can actually go to do this fight. So thank you for showcasing that. And thank
If I
you
can add
for,
something,
yeah, go ahead.
please.
Go ahead.
There is a sentence of Veronique, in fact, AfriTech, what I really like, because it's known, the sentence is, if there, I don't remember exactly, but in a room, if there's a table, there's no chair for you, bring your own chair. And the part that Veronique added, let the door open for others to join.
Mm-mm.
So I
Yes,
think this is
exactly.
important.
Yeah.
Just
It
wanted
is
to add
very
that.
important. Thank you so much, Astrid, for sharing this and for being a fighter for all of us and telling us every day that we can be fighters too. I think it's a very important message from what you were saying. So thank you for that. And now we will go towards the coast, I will say, to the beach, to the seaside with Anso. So Anne-Sophie is in the science field, more precisely in the marine science field. We actually call her the Little Mermaid on the team because yes, Anne-Sophie is also on the AfriTech team as a communication assistant, which we are very grateful for that. So Anne-Sophie is our Little Mermaid, but I do want to talk about the science part of your industry. And the science can feel quite competitive and demanding. Being in the science field myself for a long time, I know that it can be quite competitive and demanding. So, dear younger Anne-Sophie, where did you feel that you had to shrink, toughen up, or overcompensate in those fields? Oh, thank you, Catherine, with your little dolphin reaction.
Catherine, like reaction. Thank you, Catherine. Love it. Yeah, so yeah, as you said, science is indeed very competitive. Like I guess any like field of expertise now is like really competitive. And for the science field, I kind of already know in what I was embarking myself when I decided to do science. And disclaimer, I love science since I was a kid. So I already knew I wanted to be in the field of science. And so after I finished my high school that I said, oh, why not try marine science? Like they have this at the University of Mauritius. Nice, let's go for it. And to be like actually at the start of like my scientist journey, it was kind of chill, I can say, but I later on realized that since it's like a very competitive field, I had like to really kind of like had a lot of skills, knowledge, and also like certificates that certified I have the skills. So at some point I was happy doing that because I love learning. I really like learning new things. So for me it was like very great, like keep learning and learning new stuff. So that's why I also like when I knew that since I'm doing marine science, I need to have diving certificate. So I say, okay, just do the diving certificate, because you have to need the diving certificate on the CV to be employable. And just realize with time that I kind of have, just to be able to compete on the field, I just keep on going and like just adding and adding and adding more and more certificate, even though it started to become really tiring and mentally draining and physically draining also. So for me, it was like, okay, but I needed them because I had to keep on adding, and I kind of like had to just keep on compensating because I was had to compete with other people in this field. And I realized that actually I kept on just kind of like just ticking the next certificate I had to get without actually acknowledging and like clapping for myself for what I already achieved. And it was even worse when sometime I had people who even tell me like, oh, you're lucky you got this thing. It wasn't luck. It was hard work, but I got like years of hard work just being crushed by just like a simple word. You're lucky. And it kind of the same thing when I got my scholarship for going for my master's. I gonna lose that. Like I went through so much emotional burnout and breakdown during this time because I applied for nearly 4 or 5 scholarships on the same year because I really wanted to do my master's. And I did it. Even I came back and I still haven't really processed I did a master's. And I still haven't really clapped for that. And again, I like recently had someone tell me, oh, you're lucky you went to Ireland and do your master's. Like, okay, thank you. Like that I don't know, like no, it I work for that. And it just made me realize how like it was draining. And I did get that. So when I was doing my master's, that I was actually like tired of just running off the certificate just to be able to overcompensate and just be able to compete on the market. And I just realized how mentally I was like just destroying myself. And I has been working on that since last year's end, saying like, okay, I do know that in the field of marine science, it is really competitive, but I already acknowledge I have this kind of certificate and skills and expertise already. So I kind of say, okay, now I just want to be selective on what I'm going to take in and what I'm not going to do. And it's really hard because I still have this bad habit of trying to do everything that's related to the science field or marine science field. And it's sometimes I just see like I can just be scrolling on LinkedIn and say like, oh, something interesting in marine science. Should I click it? Apply? No, you don't need it. And so maybe I need it. No, you don't need it. Okay. So it's like, it's really, I never realized actually how this field kind of make me became like that. How like I just become kind of like a certificate chaser. And it's like it might be funny when I say it like that, but it's like it's actually a very bad thing. And I do say like, okay, I should really stop doing that and just focus on what's really important. And also because on for like time management, but also I do need time for myself and quality time to like ensure like I have a very good work-life balance and time with my family and friend. So I do know like, okay, I don't necessarily need to do everything. And like the science field definitely still gonna be competitive, but I just have to know what to do and not what to do. So yeah.
Before I say any comment, I would like to, all of us, clap for her because she hasn't clapped for her yet. So I think we should clap because she deserves it. I think we all deserve it, to be fair, to be clapping for ourselves. Because I will say that this is something that is so annoying, that everything we do, and then people come to us and tell us, you're so lucky. What? No, luck has nothing to do with it. For some reason, the more work I do, the more luck I seem to have. So this is not right. I think the moment you say that, like internally, I was like, oh, like so annoyed because I think this is something that is really, really true. Like, why are people telling us that we are lucky? And I think what's worst is that at some point in life, we actually start thinking that we are lucky. When people tell that to us, we tell ourselves, I am so lucky. But realizing that no, I'm not actually lucky. Yes, maybe there's some luck in it, but I actually made this happen. And we need to acknowledge that and clap for ourselves. Every morning when you wake up out of bed, you clap for yourself because I think we all deserve this. And again, I do want to go back to that comment that you said about being a certificate chaser. I think we've all been there. I think some of us maybe are still there, and a lot of people after us will be there. And I think it's important, and I think it's an important part of your journey because, as you said, sometimes you go across, you see fellowship, scholarship going by, and you're like, I'm applying to this, I'm applying to this, I'm applying to this. You're applying to all of it. And when someone finally asks you, why are you applying for it? You don't even know. You don't even have an answer for it because you're just applying to everything because you feel like you need all of these papers because at the end of the day, they are just papers to tell you what your worth is. And I don't think that's okay. And I think the biggest takeaway from what you said, Answer, is that there will be one day. So for all of you who have been there, who are there right now, or who will be those certificate chaser at some point, is there will be a day where you will sit in front of your computer or in front of an advert, and there will be that certificate, there will be that proposal out there, and you will tell yourself, wait a minute, I do not need that. Or wait a minute, why am I even doing this? And I think it's important that you go through it on your own because this is when it actually it actually snap. Because as long as people will come to you and say, oh, I can do, you can do this, you can do this, actually learning to say no and say, okay, you know what? I actually do not want to do that because I don't think I need it. This will be the biggest win that you can have for yourself. So I will say, take your own journey and go with the flow. Now, I do want us to go back. Oh, Catherine, thank you. Catherine sharing a pineapple. For those of you on the call who don't know, I'm a big fan of pineapple. So thank you so much, Catherine. It's like my go-to thing. And I do want to go now to go back to being this seeing our younger self and within ourselves as well. I do see some people already commenting in the chat, but I do want you as well in the audience to maybe go through that exercise of telling yourself. So there is this sentence, dear me, you don't have to dot dot dot. And in those dot dot dot, you replace it with a belief that you would gently help your younger self unlearn. And so I want each of our panelists to finish that sentence with what they would like to unlearn. So the sentence again is, dear me, you don't have to. And I will start with Astrid. What is your sentence, Astrid?
Sorry. Dear me, you don't have to prove your worth all the time.
Thank you. Yes. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, sorry. It's fine.
Oh, that's it. That's your sentence. Okay.
That's the sentence.
Answer. Sorry, I don't know if you're talking, but you're muted. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't hear you call my name. Yeah, so for me, it's like, dear me, you don't have to be strong all the time.
Clock it. Yes, I agree. Catherine, what is your sentence?
I would say, dear me, you don't have to explain yourself into acceptance or speak just to be seen.
Oh my God, I think we can write a book just with all those sentences because I think this is really what it's all about. And I see Kobashni actually writing in the chat, dear me, you don't have to worry. You'll be just fine, babe. And yes, you'll be just fine. All of us will be just fine. Just be true to who you are. And the next question that I do want to ask is, and it's about all three of your journeys. That I said there was sustainability and system, there is technology and community building, there is ocean advocacy and storytelling. For me, all of those are a return to authenticity at some point. You need to go back to being yourself and to go back to that vulnerability that is within. And I think I would like to know in like if you had to summarize it quickly, what is something that made you realize that being vulnerable is actually a strength instead of being a liability? And I would like to go with Astrid first.
So this question is a complicated one for me, in fact, because
Yeah.
I consider that vulnerability, I see it as a weakness, in fact. But I've learned to see it in a different way now. I'll try to be quite a bit rapid on it, but I've managed teams. I've been quite a, when you're a manager, when you're a leader, people tend to think that you have the answer to everything. In fact, you don't. But you have this stress of people asking you questions and you need to have an answer. But I realize over time, people don't expect you to be perfect. People don't expect you to have the answer. In fact, when you show them that you are vulnerable, they realize that you are human and they relate to you more. And this is the moment they feel safer with you. They share more things and you have this, and they really feel that you are a team because they realize that you are like them. In fact, you have a moment of doubt. You don't know everything, and they feel more connected to you. And even though vulnerability is not something I'm totally at ease with it, it's something I try to be more with people, not with everyone, of course, but when you allow yourself to be vulnerable, people see a part of yourself that they will feel connected to, because everyone is vulnerable at some point, I think.
Thank you, Astrid. And yes, definitely, vulnerability for me is definitely a strength. And showing it to people, again, gives others permission to actually be vulnerable too. So thank you so much, Astrid. And so?
So for me, I learned about like being vulnerable is not like a weakness when I did the AfriTech fellowship, when I was in the first cohort, and learn like how to step in my self, how to really like just embrace my personality, because now most people like know me well, knows that I'm someone really emotional, sensitive, like very well part of me that I always hide because I took it as a weakness. Because you wanted like kind of go back a bit with the question like about what I had to compensate in the science. It was that part I had to just like hide it because you are not supposed to be emotional, sensitive, and like. But I just, thanks, during like the AfriTech fellowship, I learned that I was allowed to feel and be vulnerable because I'm human. So all human beings like have emotion, and I should be allowed to like express my emotion. Of course, I'm not gonna like just go and like yell on people because maybe I'm angry or like having overloading of emotion, but I feel like some part of my emotion, I am allowed to feel them. And it's definitely not weakness. It's something that really helped me um, be myself and also help other people. Like in a way, because I know this make me someone quite with a good emotional intelligence, because I'm quite very at ease now with my emotion. So it's really helped me throughout my journey now, as like for my mental growth, mental health. And And I do tell people that if you want, like, if having your emotion, just feel them. You want to cry, cry. I can help you. We can cry together if you want. Like, you just feel your emotion. Don't be ashamed because of them. So it's I'm a bit sad that I kind of, like, it took me time to really embrace my vulnerability, but I'm happy I did. I think, as a coach said, like, better late than never. So it's for me, it's like a good thing that I did embrace it.
Thank you, Anso. And I can say that we've actually had time when both me and Anso cried together on the phone while she was in Ireland and I was in Mauritius. We were crying for two different things, but it was so good. I always say I'm a crier and I love crying. It's like it's a passion. Of course, after pineapple, because pineapple is still the first. But crying, I think, is my second passion in life because it feels so good. Gonna tell you guys, try it. You will see how good it is. But yeah, thank you so much, Anso, for sharing this with us. Catherine?
Yes, for me, also, I would say that the AfriTech helped me to understand that vulnerability is not a weakness. I realized it slowly in moments when I thought that would have break me. When I admitted that I did not have answers for all the questions, when I asked for help, when I let someone see the parts of me that remained hidden, and I discovered something unexpected is that vulnerability didn't weaken me. It connected me with people. It allowed others to trust me, to meet me fully, and to grow with me. Strength isn't always about holding everything together, but sometimes it's about letting go enough to be seen, and in that seeing, finding a deeper and quieter power, and also having people who really care about me, about everything, you know.
Thank you, Catherine. I've seen a music note, so I'm sending you music notes now. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing this. And it's definitely not a weakness. And I'm happy that you're now, each one of you, seeing it as a strength, because it really is a strength once you make peace with it and make peace with just sitting with your emotions and your vulnerability and simply being human. Um, yeah, there's Kobashi that said, agreed, being vulnerable is actually just being a human. And I think it's really true. And Alexia said, saying, I don't know, is my prime vulnerability. And yes, it's like sometimes just accepting your limits is one of the best strength that you might show up with. So thank you for sharing that. And I don't know if there is any question from the audience. I do want to end up with one question. And if there is question from the audience, feel free to put it in the chat as I ask this last question to the speakers. And it can just be a word or one sentence that you think really showcase what it is to each one of you. But what quality in your younger self that you are very grateful that you never lost? And I'll start with answer this time.
I think I'm gonna say laziness. Like, in a good way. Craziness in a
What did you
way
say?
that
Sorry, I think it cut. Was it laziness?
craziness, my craziness.
Oh, craziness. Okay, yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Anso. I thought you said laziness. I was like, okay, I mean it's okay. If you choose to make it a quality, that's fine. But yeah, craziness. A bunch of crazies is always good. So thank you for your craziness every day. I will now go to Catherine. Catherine, what is your quality that you're very grateful to have had from your younger self?
I would say that for me, it is the ability to care and to stay. I lost my sister at a very young age, and I would say that I am when I'm talking with someone, I am cautious and I really care about what the people is saying, how someone is feeling, and also to keep showing up for people who I really love. I appreciate um, the amazing women that I met in the AfriTech community. To keep nurturing what I believed in, and as I say, for the tree, you keep watering it, you watch it grow. I think that is the part of me that I'm really grateful for.
Thank you so much, Catherine. And she is definitely someone that is very caring. I'm very lucky to have been around her and spend time with her. And there is this aspect of, there's not always people that you can come close to and you feel like they really want to listen to what you have to say. And Catherine is actually that kind of person. She's the kind of person that you want to talk to. So thank you, Catherine, for being this caring person. I think we all need those type of person around us. So thank you for being this for me and everyone else. Astrid?
Uh, I think a quality I'm most grateful for is I never give up. In fact, it's easy when you try something, you fail, you have no more motivation, etc. You take 2 or 3 days, you rest, and start over. You won't succeed maybe the next time, but in after 10, 25, I don't know, 50 times, you will succeed at some point. And I think it's important having this power of, okay, you fail, but you can start again. Constantly trying, I think it's important, and this makes the difference, in fact, between people. Sometimes because it's so easy to, when you fail, just, okay, I'm not good at that, I will go nowhere. But having this power of trying again, I think it's important to always keep going what you want to achieve in life.
Thank you so much, Astrid. And there's this saying that says, I've fallen 7 times, but I stood up 8. And I think it's really true. What is very important in what you said is that it is okay to fall, but do go back up in your own terms, at your own pace. We're not saying you have to fall now and come back up right now, but I like the fact that you actually acknowledge the part that it's okay to fall. And just remember that you can also stand back up. And there's this also the other thing that says if you are on the ground at the very bottom, the only way to go is up. So I think that's really true as well. Thank you so much for sharing that. And this is something, again, each one of you, you're sharing things that I can actually say that I've witnessed each one of those things in each one of those speakers. I know that Astrid is a fighter who always come back up at anything that life might throw her way. I know that Catherine is a very much caring person, and I know that and Sophie is definitely crazy, but we love her for that. And I love her for that because I think I'm crazy myself. And I think it's really great to be crazy. So thank you to each one of you for sharing this. And I do see a thought from Kobashni in the chat that say that it's not a question, more of a reflection. There's a quiet kind of power in accepting who you are, not the polished version, not the one day I'll be better version, but the real, present, unfiltered you. Because the moment you stop fighting yourself, you start understanding yourself. And when you understand yourself, you can finally use what you have, your strength, your quirks, even your flaws, as tools instead of obstacles. Thank you so much, Kobashni. Thank you to all speakers tonight. And it's true. Thank you so much, Kobashni. And for those of you who were not here on Tuesday, we actually had a talk with Kobashni around a similar theme. So it will be on our YouTube channel, so you can go ahead and look at it. Thank you, Kobashni, for being here as well. And it's true. I think from the very beginning of this talk, there was 3 things that came out. Again, the 3 takeaways were you are enough, you are definitely worth it all, and that relationship with yourself, as Catherine said, it's a tree. Nurture it because that's the best relationship that you can have. So nurture it and choose to learn who you are and who you can be and who you might be one day so that you can be fully yourself instead of trying to be all the other version, as Kobashni said, that everybody else wants you to be. Thank you for being here. And I know we are past time, so I don't want to keep you all too long. Thank you for being here. Thank you for who you are, each one of you. I think it was an incredible discussion, and each one of you have an incredible journey. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Astrid. Thank you, Anne-Sophie, for your bravery, for being who you are, unfiltered with us. And you actually reminded us all that your career paths are not just about what we build outward, but what we protect in the light and inwards. So to everyone who joined us tonight or who is going to be able to rewatch this talk after, thank you. And I do want to tell you, I hope you leave this space by being a little bit closer to that past version of yourself, because that person, that version of yourself is really, really proud of who you are. And Mohini is saying, thank you so much, everyone, helping young women to overcome daily battles. We hope that is actually helping others. Thank you, Mohini, for being here, and Alexia as well, and Kurt as well. And if you want to catch up on the different series and different episodes that we might have in the past, you can check our YouTube channel. And if you want to see more episodes, you can tell us what you want us to talk about. Or if you want to see more, be mindful to take some time to follow us on our social media so that you get to have all the information. Keep an eye out. And I think I've said it all. A huge thank you to all of you. Until next time, I do want you to keep loving yourself, keep innovating, keep learning and unlearning, and keep being exactly who you are. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.